But today we are talking about the 1981 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that many people overlook but collectors still watch carefully. And yes, while most of these coins are common, their value and collecting potential might surprise you. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore coins that could be hiding in plain sight. If you love treasure hunts without leaving your house, you are definitely in the right place. Today we will dive deep into the history, features, varieties, real market value, collector demand, grading secrets, and whether the 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could actually make you money. Plus, I will share a funny personal story about the first time I thought I found a rare penny and nearly embarrassed myself at a coin shop. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a cup of tea, and let's jump into the world of Lincoln. Let's start with the basics. The 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark simply means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For many years, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark, so no mint mark does not automatically mean rare. I know some videos online make it sound like every missing mint mark is worth thousands, but let's keep things real here. Knowledge is power, and today you will learn exactly what to look for. The obverse of the coin features Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. This iconic design has been around since 1909, making it one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. The reverse for the 1981 penny still shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Now, here's where things get interesting. The year 1981 was actually a transition period in the history of the Lincoln penny. The U.S. Mint was preparing to change the composition of pennies from mostly copper to zinc in 1982. That means 1981 pennies represent some of the last years of traditional copper composition coins. For collectors, that alone adds a little extra interest. Let's talk about mintage numbers. Millions and millions of 1981 pennies were produced in Philadelphia, meaning the coin is not rare by default. If you have one in average circulated condition, its value is generally around 1 cent to maybe a few cents depending on copper prices. And yes, you heard that right. The current market value for most 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies is about 1 cent, sometimes slightly higher due to copper content, but not dramatically higher unless certain factors are present. Coin grading plays a massive role in determining value. A heavily worn coin that has been through decades of pocket change will not attract serious collector money. However, a high-grade example with sharp details, original luster, and minimal scratches can sell for significantly more. Coins graded mint state 65 or higher can reach several dollars or more depending on demand. Let me explain grading in simple terms. Imagine two identical cars. One is brand new, shiny, flawless. The other has dents, scratches, and faded paint. Both are technically the same model, but their value is totally different. Coins work exactly the same way. Now let's discuss something collectors love hunting for: errors and varieties. The 1981 Lincoln penny has some known varieties, including double dies and minor striking anomalies. These are coins where the design appears doubled or slightly shifted because of how the dies were created during minting. Finding a strong double die can turn an ordinary penny into a valuable collectible. When I first learned about error coins, I remember sitting at my table late at night checking pennies under a lamp. My family thought I had lost my mind. One day I found a coin that looked doubled, and I ran to a local coin dealer convinced I had discovered a treasure. The dealer smiled politely, took one look, and said, "This is just machine doubling." I felt like I had just brought a fake treasure map to a pirate. But honestly, that experience taught me more about coins than any book could. Sometimes the hunt itself is the real reward. Another factor to consider is copper weight. Most 1981 pennies weigh about 3.11 grams because they are copper-based. Some collectors weigh their coins using digital scales to verify composition. This is especially useful when comparing coins around the 1982 transition period. You might be wondering how collectors actually sell or buy these coins. The most common platforms include online marketplaces, coin shows, and auctions. Prices vary depending on grading, eye appeal, and market demand. While the average circulated coin stays near face value, Uncirculated rolls or certified high-grade pieces can attract collectors who want the best examples for their sets. Let's also talk about the psychology of collecting. Many people assume only extremely rare coins are worth keeping, but that is not always true. Collectors often enjoy building complete date sets, meaning even common coins like the 1981 no-mint mark penny still have demand. Think of it like completing a sticker album or finishing a puzzle. Every piece matters. One of the funniest things about coin collecting is how it changes how you see money. Before collecting, a penny is just a penny. After collecting, you start flipping every coin like a detective. You check dates, mint marks, tiny scratches, and suddenly grocery shopping becomes a treasure hunt. Here is a relatable scenario. Imagine standing in line at a shop, the cashier hands you change, and instead of just putting it away, you start inspecting the coins like a scientist analyzing a rare artifact. The person behind you is wondering why you are staring at a penny like it owes you money. That is when you know you have officially become a coin collector. Let's go deeper into market trends. Copper coins often attract interest when metal prices rise. While melting pennies is restricted, collectors still appreciate older copper coins because of their historical composition. The 1981 penny sits right before a major change in coin manufacturing, making it part of an important transition era. Storage also matters. If you think you have a high-quality example, avoid touching the surface with bare fingers. Oils from your skin can damage the coin over time. Use coin holders or flips to protect your collection. Proper storage can preserve value for decades. Another topic worth mentioning is misinformation online. You might see headlines claiming a common penny is worth thousands or millions. Always verify information using trusted sources. Realistic expectations make collecting more enjoyable and less frustrating. Maybe not every single one, but definitely keep clean, shiny examples, potential error coins, or anything that looks unusual. Over time, having multiple examples allows you to compare quality and learn more about grading. Coin collecting is not just about money. It connects you to history. Think about how many people might have used your coin before you. Maybe it bought candy in the 1980s, paid for parking in the 1990s, or sat forgotten in a jar for years before you discovered it. Another fun strategy is searching bank rolls. Some collectors visit banks and ask for rolls of pennies to search through. It feels like opening a mystery box because you never know what you might find. Even if you do not find something extremely valuable, the experience itself can be exciting. Humor aside, patience is the real secret in coin collecting. Not every coin is a jackpot, but knowledge turns ordinary finds into meaningful discoveries. The 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is generally worth about 1 cent in circulated condition, with higher values possible for uncirculated examples, rare errors, or exceptional grades. It may not instantly make you rich, but it represents a fascinating piece of coin history and a perfect starting point for learning how to evaluate coins like a professional. Next time you see a penny, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. That small moment of curiosity might spark a new hobby, or even lead to a valuable discovery someday. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more tips, hidden coin secrets, and guides to coins that could be worth money, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the like button, share this video with a friend who still thinks pennies are useless, and let me know in the comments if you have ever found an interesting coin in your change. Remember, treasure is often hiding in plain sight, and sometimes all it takes is slowing down enough to notice it. See you in the next video. Welcome back to the Old Coins Prices. If you love hidden treasures, everyday coins that might surprise you, and learning how to spot value where others see pocket change, you are definitely in the right place. Today we're diving deep into the 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. We'll talk about its history, why collectors care about it, how to identify it, what makes some versions more valuable, and the current market value, which averages around $1.20 depending on condition. And yes, I know what you're thinking. $1.20 doesn't sound like winning the lottery. But hold on, because the real fun is understanding why a coin worth 1 cent could sell for more, how grading changes everything, and how learning about coins like this can turn everyday change into a treasure hunt. Let's start with a little history because every coin has a story. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909, created to honor President Abraham Lincoln. Before that, U.S. coins didn't feature real people regularly, so this was actually a big deal. Fast forward to 1993 and the Lincoln Memorial design was still in use. On the front you see Lincoln's portrait, and on the back you have the Lincoln Memorial Building. Now here's where people get confused. When we say no mint mark, it doesn't mean the coin came from nowhere or was made secretly in someone's garage. A no mint mark penny typically means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia coins traditionally didn't include a mint mark during many years, so no letter under the date is actually normal. Good question. The answer comes down to condition, errors, and collector demand. First, let's talk about condition. Coin grading is everything. Imagine two identical cars from the same year. One has been driven through mud, scratched, and left outside. The other has been carefully maintained, cleaned, and stored in a garage. Which one would you pay more for? Same idea with coins. A 1993 penny that has been in circulation for decades will usually show scratches, wear, and discoloration. That might still be worth a little more than face value, but nothing crazy. However, if someone saved a brand new shiny coin straight from a mint roll and kept it protected, collectors call that uncirculated or mint state. Those coins can sell for significantly more. Now let's talk numbers. The average circulated 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny may be worth around $1.20 depending on demand and condition. Some lower grade coins might sell for less, while high quality examples can go higher, especially if professionally graded, and this brings us to grading companies. Serious collectors often send coins to professional grading services to verify authenticity and assign a grade. That grade helps determine value. A small difference in grade can sometimes mean a big difference in price. Next, let's talk about errors because this is where things get exciting. Mint errors are like typos made during the coin-making process. Maybe the coin was struck off-center, maybe there's a double die effect where letters appear doubled, or maybe the planchet had a flaw. These errors are what make collectors lose sleep and get excited like kids on a treasure hunt. If you ever find a 1993 penny with unusual features like doubling in the lettering, missing details, or strange shapes, don't assume it's damage. Sometimes what looks like a mistake is actually a valuable mint error. Here's a relatable story from my own experience. One day I was cleaning out old drawers at home, the kind where random stuff goes to disappear forever. You know the drawer I'm talking about, full of old receipts, buttons, maybe a mystery key that fits nothing. Inside was a small jar of coins I had ignored for years. I almost dumped it straight into a vending machine, but something told me to look closer. Among the coins were a few older pennies, nothing extremely rare, but enough to spark curiosity. That moment changed how I see pocket change forever. Instead of seeing coins as small and useless, I started seeing stories, history, and potential value, and that's really the magic of coin collecting. It changes your perspective. Suddenly, every coin you receive becomes a mini mystery waiting to be solved. Step 1. Check the date. Look at the front of the coin near Lincoln's shoulder and confirm it says 1993. Step 4. Inspect for errors. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Another important factor is copper plating. By 1993, Lincoln pennies were mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. That means the weight and feel are slightly different compared to older solid copper pennies. Some collectors enjoy comparing these differences. Let's also talk about supply and demand. The 1993 penny had a high mintage, meaning millions were produced. That's why most examples aren't extremely valuable individually. But collector demand keeps a steady market, especially for high-grade examples. Think of it like sneakers. Some sneakers are produced in huge numbers, but collectors still pay more for brand new pairs in perfect condition. Coins work the same way. Another fun tip is searching bank rolls. Some collectors buy rolls of pennies from banks and search through them hoping to find rare varieties or high-grade coins. It's like treasure hunting without leaving your chair. Now let's address a common myth. Not every old or unusual coin is worth thousands. The internet sometimes exaggerates prices, and that can create unrealistic expectations. The real joy is learning and occasionally finding something special. If you're building a collection, storing coins properly matters. Avoid touching the surface with bare hands too much because oils can damage the finish. Keep them in holders or albums designed for coins. Let's talk briefly about selling. If you decide to sell a 1993 no-mint mark penny, check recent listings on online marketplaces to see realistic prices. Condition and grading will influence the final value. Also consider local coin shops. Sometimes talking with experienced collectors can teach you more than hours of searching online. One thing I love about coin collecting is how it connects generations. A coin minted decades ago can pass through thousands of hands, travel across cities, and still end up in your pocket today. Imagine the journey of a single 1993 penny. Maybe it bought a candy bar in the 90s, rode in someone's wallet during their first job, sat in a piggy bank for years, and now it's here being examined by you. The 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might look ordinary, but understanding its history, condition, and collector interest can reveal surprising value. While the average current market value may be around $1.20 depending on condition, the real excitement lies in knowing how to identify better examples, spot potential errors, and turn everyday pocket change into an adventure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We regularly explore coins that could be worth more than you think, share tips for spotting hidden gems, and help you turn curiosity into knowledge. Hit that subscribe button, join the community, and let's keep discovering the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight together. Welcome back to the Old Coins Prices. If you love coins, hidden value, and learning how everyday pocket change might surprise you, you are in the right place. Today we're diving deep into the 2015 Lincoln penny, its value, what makes it collectible, current market price around $1.3 depending on condition, and how you can check if yours might be worth more. And yes, before you roll your eyes and say it's just 1 cent, trust me, collectors have a completely different way of looking at things. Stick around because I'll also share a funny personal story about how I almost ignored a coin that turned out to be way more interesting than I expected. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909, and it is one of the most iconic coins in American history. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse is something nearly everyone recognizes, even people who do not collect coins. The design has changed over the years, but Lincoln has remained the face of the penny for more than a century. The 2015 penny belongs to the Lincoln Shield design era. On the back, you'll see the Union Shield, symbolizing unity and strength. It replaced the Lincoln Memorial design back in 2010. So technically, the 2015 penny is part of a relatively modern design period, which makes some collectors underestimate it. But modern coins can still hold collectible value, especially when condition and mint marks come into play. The D stands for Denver Mint. The United States Mint produces coins in several locations, and the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. Denver coins often have large production numbers, but certain collectors still seek them out for completeness in sets, high-grade examples, or specific varieties. If you look at your coin, you should find the small D mint mark under the year on the front side. It's tiny, so you might need good lighting or even a magnifying glass. Most circulated examples are worth face value or slightly above. However, in uncirculated condition or high-grade examples, the coin can sell for around $1.3 depending on quality, grading, and collector demand. That may not sound like a fortune, but think about it this way. Turning 1 cent into more than $1 is already a huge percentage increase. Imagine your bank giving you that kind of interest. Coin value depends heavily on condition. This is where collectors get serious. A penny that looks shiny, clean, and nearly untouched is much more desirable than one that has been bouncing around in pockets for years. First, check the shine. A mint state coin still has its original luster. Second, inspect scratches or wear, especially on Lincoln's face and hair. Third, look for discoloration or spotting. Copper-plated zinc coins like modern pennies can develop issues if stored poorly. Also keep an eye out for errors or varieties. While the standard 2015D penny may average around $1.3 in higher grades, error coins can sometimes command higher prices. These include off-center strikes, doubled dies, or unusual minting mistakes. One day, I was cleaning out my car and found a handful of coins hiding under the seat. You know the ones? Dusty, sticky, probably older than your last haircut. I almost tossed them into a jar without looking, but curiosity kicked in. I started checking dates and mint marks just for fun. Most were nothing special, but suddenly I noticed a bright, almost untouched penny. It looked different. That tiny moment of curiosity made me realize how easy it is to overlook coins that collectors actually care about. That experience changed how I look at pocket change. Now every coin feels like a mini treasure hunt. And honestly, it's addictive in the best way. The answer is simple. Collecting is about completion and condition. Many collectors build date and mint mark sets, meaning they want one example from each year and mint. Even modern coins are necessary to complete these sets. High-grade modern coins can be surprisingly valuable because fewer people save them in perfect condition. Professional grading services assign numerical grades based on condition. Coins graded MS65 or higher often carry premium value. While a regular circulated coin may be worth only face value, a high-grade certified coin can reach higher prices because collectors trust the grade. Modern coins like the 2015D Lincoln penny generally maintain modest but steady collector interest. The approximate $1.3 value you might see applies mostly to well-preserved examples. Prices can fluctuate depending on collector demand, market trends, and availability of high-quality specimens. Look at the date. Check the mint mark. Examine condition. Compare with online auction results. Even if you don't find something rare immediately, the process itself is fun and educational. Here's a humorous truth about coin collecting. At first, your friends may think you've become obsessed with small metal circles. But later, they'll start bringing you coins saying, "Hey, can you check this one for me?" Suddenly you become the coin expert of the group. If you find a nice example, do not throw it back into your pocket with keys. Use coin holders or small protective sleeves. Avoid touching the surface too much because fingerprints can affect condition over time. Not every penny will make you rich overnight, and that's okay. The joy of coin collecting comes from learning history, spotting details, and occasionally finding something surprisingly valuable. Think of it like fishing. Sometimes you catch a big one, sometimes you just enjoy the experience. Today we explored the 2015D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what makes it collectible, how condition affects value, and why a coin with an estimated market value around $1.3 can still be worth your attention. The biggest takeaway is simple. Never underestimate everyday coins. The ones you ignore today could be the ones collectors want tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, hidden values, and smart collecting strategies, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our growing community of treasure hunters who know that sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest stories. Maybe. But this is exactly how many coin collectors start their journey into the world of hidden treasure. Today we are talking about the 1998 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that most people ignore, spend without thinking, or leave forgotten inside old jars and dusty drawers. And yes, its current market value might only be around $1.4, but the story behind it, the collecting potential, and the lessons it teaches about coin collecting are far more valuable. If you have ever picked up a penny and wondered if it could be worth something extra, you are in the right place. Today we will explore what makes the 1998 Lincoln penny special, how to identify it, why collectors still search for it, how condition affects value, and why even a modestly priced coin can be the beginning of a serious collection. And along the way, I will share a personal story that changed the way I looked at coins forever. So grab your favorite drink, maybe check your pocket change while listening, and let us dive into the fascinating world of the 1998 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. Let us start with the basics. The 1998 D Lincoln penny was produced at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small D mint mark on the front of the coin just below the date. This penny features the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. On the reverse side you will find the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used on pennies from 1959 until 2008. Now you might be wondering why a modern coin like this would be worth more than 1 cent. After all, millions of these were produced. That is true. The mintage numbers were high, and most examples are extremely common. However, value in coin collecting does not only come from rarity. It also comes from condition, collector demand, errors, and sometimes simply nostalgia. A typical circulated 1998 D penny might be worth only a few cents above face value. But a well-preserved example, especially one in high mint state condition, can reach around $1.4 or sometimes more depending on grading and eye appeal. And while that may not sound like life-changing money, remember that collecting is a journey. Every coin has a story, and small wins add up. Let us talk about condition, because this is where many new collectors make mistakes. When collectors say mint state, they mean a coin that shows little to no wear from circulation. The difference between a worn penny and a pristine one can be dramatic. Look closely at Lincoln's hair, the cheekbones, and the lettering. Sharp details, bright luster, and minimal scratches increase value significantly. I remember once going through a jar of coins that had been sitting in my house for years. Honestly, I expected nothing. Just old pennies, maybe some nickels, nothing exciting. But as I sorted them, I noticed how different each coin looked. Some were dull and scratched, while others looked almost new. That moment made me realize something important. Two coins can be the same year and mint mark but have completely different values because of condition. That was the day I stopped rushing and started looking carefully. Another interesting factor is collector psychology. Many collectors love building complete sets by year and mint mark. That means they need coins like the 1998 D penny to fill gaps in their collections. Even though it is not extremely rare, demand from collectors keeps its value slightly above face value in higher grades. Now let us discuss errors and varieties, because this is where things get fun. Some collectors search for specific die varieties such as close AM or wide AM variations on certain Lincoln pennies from the late 1990s. While the famous varieties are more often associated with other years, searching for subtle differences teaches collectors to pay attention to detail. Even if you never find a major error, the process itself sharpens your skills. And here is something many people overlook. Coin collecting is not just about profit. It is about history, patience, and observation. Think about how many hands a single penny passes through. It might travel across states, sit inside vending machines, ride in someone's pocket during an important life moment, or even get saved by a child starting their first collection. Every coin is a tiny time capsule. Speaking of time capsules, I once met someone who started collecting after finding a slightly shiny penny at a grocery store checkout line. He thought it looked different, saved it, and later learned it was just a high-grade modern coin. Was it worth a fortune? No. But that discovery sparked a hobby that eventually led him to finding genuinely rare coins. Sometimes the value is not in the first coin you find but in the curiosity it creates. Let us also talk about grading, because grading plays a massive role in determining the price of any coin. Professional grading companies assign numerical grades based on condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. For example, a 1998 D penny in average circulated condition may be worth only a few cents, while one graded in a high mint state range could sell for around $1.4 or potentially higher depending on demand. Many beginners assume shiny means valuable, but that is not always true. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value significantly. Natural surfaces are preferred by collectors. So if you find a nice-looking penny, resist the urge to polish it. Think of it like antique furniture. The original finish matters. Another key tip is storage. Proper storage prevents scratches and environmental damage. Simple coin holders or albums can make a huge difference over time. Imagine saving a perfect coin today and checking its value years later. The difference between careful storage and careless handling can mean real money. Now let us discuss why modern coins like the 1998 penny still matter. Some collectors focus only on older coins like wheat pennies or early 20th century issues. But modern coins are accessible, affordable, and perfect for beginners. You can build a collection without spending large amounts of money. Plus, modern coins teach you the basics before moving into more advanced collecting. Think of it like learning to cook. You start with simple recipes before attempting complex dishes. The same applies to coins. Learning to identify mint marks, recognize wear patterns, and understand grading standards begins with coins that are easy to find. Humorously, I once spent an entire afternoon searching through rolls of pennies expecting to find something extremely rare. After hours of searching, all I found were duplicates and one slightly nicer 1998 penny. At first I felt disappointed. Then I realized something. I had learned more about coins in that afternoon than in weeks of reading online. Sometimes the real treasure is the knowledge you gain. Another fun aspect is the thrill of the hunt. Every time you check your change, you feel like a treasure hunter. Most of the time you will find nothing extraordinary. But once in a while, you find a coin in exceptional condition or an interesting variety, and that moment feels amazing. Let us also discuss the market side. Coin values fluctuate based on collector interest, grading trends, and overall market demand. A coin valued around $1.4 today might change slightly in the future. That is why many collectors focus not only on selling but also on enjoying the process. If you are thinking about starting a collection, here are some simple steps. First, separate coins by year and mint mark. Second, learn basic grading terms. Third, use magnification to examine details. Fourth, keep notes about what you find. Over time, you will develop a deeper understanding and appreciation. Another relatable moment happened when a friend laughed at me for saving pennies. He said, "Why bother with coins worth only a little more than face value?" A year later, he asked me to help sort through his own coin jar after hearing stories about valuable finds. That moment made me realize something funny. People may not understand at first, but curiosity always wins. Coin collecting also connects generations. Many collectors inherit coins from family members, creating emotional value beyond monetary worth. Even a simple 1998 penny can remind someone of a time period, a relative, or a memory. So what have we learned today? The 1998 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may not be a $1 million treasure, but it represents the heart of coin collecting. It teaches patience, attention to detail, and the excitement of discovering hidden value in everyday objects. With a current market value around $1.4 in high-grade condition, it shows how even modern coins can hold collector interest. Well, today we are talking about a coin that millions of people overlook every single day. The 1976 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It might not be worth millions, but it has a story, history, and real collector interest that could make you look at your spare change very differently. Today we are going to break down everything you need to know about the 1976 Lincoln penny. What makes it special, what its real market value is today, why collectors still care about it, how condition changes price, and how you can spot better examples that might actually be worth more than the average coin. I will also share a funny personal story about the first time I thought I found a rare penny and nearly embarrassed myself at a coin shop. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. By 1976, the Lincoln penny had already been around for decades and had become a daily use coin found in almost every pocket, couch cushion, and car cup holder. Now, 1976 was a special year in American history. It was the bicentennial celebration, marking 200 years since the Declaration of Independence. Many coins from that year received special designs, like the famous bicentennial quarters, but the Lincoln penny kept its traditional look. Even though it did not get a dramatic redesign, the year itself adds historical context that collectors appreciate. The D mint mark means the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. If you look closely at the front of the coin, just under the date, you will see a small letter D. That tiny letter tells you where the coin was made, and for collectors, mint marks matter a lot. Here is something interesting. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 1976. That means this coin is not rare in terms of production numbers. So if you are expecting it to be instantly worth thousands of dollars just because you found one, I want to be honest with you right now. Most 1970-60 Lincoln pennies are worth around $1.5 or even just a few cents above face value depending on condition. And yes, I know some of you are thinking, wait a minute, I thought some pennies sell for millions. That is true, but rarity, condition, and eras play a huge role in value. A typical circulated 1970-60 Lincoln penny that has been used in everyday transactions is usually worth about 1 to 3 cents. But when collectors say a coin has a market value around $1.50, they are usually talking about a higher grade example, often uncirculated or near mint condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition all the way up to mint state. The closer a coin is to how it looked when it left the mint, the more valuable it becomes. Think about it like sneakers. A brand new pair straight out of the box is worth more than one that has been worn for years. Now imagine a 1970-60 penny that has never been used in circulation. No scratches, strong shine, clear details. That is where you might see values approaching around $1.50 or sometimes more depending on grading. Coin grading is essentially judging how well preserved the coin is. Collectors look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clear lettering, and minimal scratches. Luster, which is the natural shine of the metal, is extremely important. When I first started looking at coins, I thought any old shiny penny was valuable. I remember walking into a coin shop with a small plastic bag full of pennies I thought were rare. I was excited, maybe a little too confident. The shop owner looked at them, smiled politely, and said these are nice but mostly common circulation coins. I felt like I had just shown my school homework to a professional teacher who had seen it 1,000 times before. But that moment taught me something important. Learning how to identify condition and rarity takes practice, and every collector starts somewhere. First, some people collect coins by year. Others collect by mint mark. Some want a complete set of Lincoln pennies, and that means they need a 1970-60 even if it is not rare. Second, error coins can increase value significantly. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process. These might include double strikes, off-center designs, or unusual die errors. If you find a 1970-60 penny with a noticeable error, the value could be much higher than the standard market price. Third, copper composition matters. Pennies from this era are mostly copper-based, and many collectors enjoy the classic weight and color compared to modern zinc pennies. Step 2. Look at the condition under good lighting. Rotate the coin slowly. Check for scratches, discoloration, or worn details. Step 4. Store your coins properly. Avoid touching the surface too much. Oils from your fingers can reduce the value over time. Now I want to share a relatable moment. One time I found a shiny 1970s penny stuck between car seats while cleaning. I immediately thought, this could be the rare one everyone talks about. My imagination started running wild. Maybe I just found treasure. Maybe I would retire early. After researching for hours, I realized it was worth only a few cents. But you know what? That excitement is actually what makes coin collecting fun. The thrill of discovery keeps collectors searching through jars, drawers, and pocket change every day. Coin collecting is not always about finding $1 million coin. Sometimes it is about history, learning, and enjoying the hunt. Another reason the 1970-60 penny stays interesting is nostalgia. Many people grew up during that era, and holding a coin from that year connects them to memories of the past. Coins are tiny time capsules you can hold in your hand. Another mistake is cleaning coins. Never clean your coins with chemicals or polish. Cleaning might make the coin look shiny, but it can actually reduce its collector value significantly. And finally, do not believe every viral headline claiming a common penny is worth millions. Always verify with trusted sources and understand what makes certain examples special. The 1970-60 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a fascinating piece of history. While most examples are common and typically valued around a small premium with higher grade coins reaching about $1.50, it still holds collector interest because of its historical context, mint mark, and potential for higher grade or rare varieties. Coin collecting is about curiosity, patience, and enjoying the journey. Every coin tells a story, even the ones that seem ordinary at first glance. If you enjoyed learning about the 1970-60 Lincoln penny and want more tips on coins that could actually be worth money, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that like button, share this video with a friend who always ignores their pocket change, and let me know in the comments if you have ever found a coin you thought was rare. We are diving deep into the 1972 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that many people have seen but very few truly understand. If you have ever looked at your spare change and wondered if anything there might secretly be valuable, this video is for you. We are going to explore the history of the 1972 Lincoln penny, what the no-mint mark really means, how to identify valuable varieties, what collectors are currently paying, and whether that penny sitting in your drawer could actually be worth more than you think. And yes, we will talk about the current market value, including examples that sell around $1.6 or more depending on condition. Let's start with the basics. The 1972 Abraham Lincoln penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. These coins feature the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. Designed by Victor David Brenner for the obverse and Frank Gasparo for the reverse, this design became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Now here's where things get interesting. The phrase no mint mark does not mean the coin is missing something by accident. In most cases, a 1972 penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During many years, Philadelphia coins simply did not include a mint mark, so seeing no letter under the date is completely normal for coins struck there. Millions of these pennies were produced in 1972, which means most examples you find in circulation are common. But do not click away just yet, because even common coins can have value depending on condition, errors, or collector demand. Let's talk about value first, because I know that's what many of you came here for. A typical circulated 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny usually sells for its face value or slightly above. However, when you move into better preserved examples, especially those in uncirculated condition, prices begin to rise. A nice uncirculated example can easily reach around $1.6 in the current market depending on grade, luster, and overall appearance. Coins graded by professional services can sometimes sell for even higher, especially if they show exceptional quality. Now I remember the first time I realized that condition matters more than almost anything else in coin collecting. I was sorting through a jar of coins that my uncle gave me. Honestly, I thought every penny was basically the same. Then I noticed one coin looked brighter, sharper, and almost untouched compared to the others. I nearly spent it on snacks without thinking twice. Later, I learned that collectors pay a premium for coins that look like they just left the mint. That was the moment I stopped treating every coin like loose change and started looking closely. Condition is king. Collectors use grading scales to evaluate coins, ranging from heavily worn to mint state perfection. A coin with scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear will usually remain low in value. But if you find one with crisp details, original shine, and minimal marks, that's when collectors start paying attention. Next comes errors and varieties. The year 1972 is famous among collectors because of certain double die varieties. A double die occurs when the design is accidentally impressed twice during the minting process, creating visible doubling in the letters or numbers. Some of these double die pennies are extremely valuable and can sell for hundreds, or even thousands depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition of the coin. Here's a fun tip. Take a magnifying glass and look closely at the word Liberty, or the date on your coin. If the letters look slightly doubled or shifted, you might have something special. Of course, not every doubled look is real, so careful comparison with verified examples is important. Another factor affecting value is demand. Coin collecting trends change over time. Sometimes certain years or varieties become popular because of online videos, auction results, or renewed collector interest. That means even coins once considered common can see increased prices when collectors start paying attention again. Now let's talk about why people love the Lincoln Penny series so much. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most recognizable historical figures, and the penny itself has been part of everyday American life for generations. Many collectors start with Lincoln cents because they are accessible and affordable, making them perfect for beginners and experienced collectors alike. I have a friend who started collecting pennies just because he liked searching through rolls from the bank. At first, it was just a hobby to relax after work. Then one day he found a coin worth significantly more than face value. Suddenly he became obsessed with checking every coin. He joked that grocery shopping turned into treasure hunting. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It turns ordinary moments into small adventures. Let's go deeper into identifying a high-quality 1972 no-mint mark penny. Look for strong details in Lincoln's hair, clear lines in the memorial building on the reverse, and minimal contact marks. Original red color is especially desirable. Collectors often describe pennies as red, red-brown, or brown depending on how much original copper color remains. Red coins usually bring higher prices because they look closer to their original mint state. Storage also matters. If you think you have a nice example, avoid touching the surface with your bare fingers. Natural oils from skin can cause damage over time. Using coin holders or protective flips can help preserve the condition and maintain value. The answer is yes and no. Most 1972 pennies are not rare treasures, but searching through coins is still worthwhile because rare varieties do exist. The thrill comes from the possibility. Think of it like fishing. You may catch small fish most of the time, but every now and then you hook something exciting. Let's also discuss grading because this is where many beginners get confused. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on factors like strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and eye appeal. A higher grade often means a higher price. That's why two coins from the same year can have completely different values. If you are new to collecting, start by comparing your coin with online reference photos. Learn to recognize wear patterns and mint luster. Over time, your eye will naturally improve, and you will begin spotting better examples quickly. One humorous thing I noticed when I first started collecting is how quickly friends and family begin handing you coins. Suddenly everyone becomes your personal treasure scout. Someone once gave me a handful of pennies saying they might be worth millions. I checked them and sadly they were not, but the excitement made the process fun. And honestly, half the joy of coin collecting is the hunt itself. Another interesting aspect of the 1972 penny is the historical context. The early 1970s were a time of change in American coin production and economics. Rising metal prices and inflation influenced mint decisions, making coins from this era part of a broader story about history and economics. When evaluating market value, always remember that prices fluctuate. Online auction platforms, collector forums, and grading results all influence the market. While a typical uncirculated 1972 no-mint mark penny might sell around $1.6, exceptional examples or rare varieties can go much higher. Before you start dreaming about quitting your job because of a penny, keep expectations realistic. Coin collecting rewards patience and knowledge. But who knows, the next time you receive change from a shop, you might pause for a second before tossing that penny aside. The 1972 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but it has layers of history, collecting interest, and potential value depending on condition and variety. With current market examples around $1.6 for quality uncirculated pieces, it proves that even common coins can carry more worth than you expect. The real lesson here is simple. Never underestimate small things. Sometimes the most overlooked objects turn into the most fascinating discoveries. Check your change, learn the details, and enjoy the journey of becoming a smarter collector. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss tips, hidden coin secrets, and strategies to spot money hiding in plain sight. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our growing community of treasure hunters who love turning everyday coins into exciting discoveries. Your next valuable coin might already be waiting in your pocket right now. Welcome back, everyone. If you love coins, hidden treasures, or just the thrill of finding value in everyday objects, you are in the right place. Today we are diving deep into the 1990 Lincoln penny, its value, what makes it interesting, what collectors look for, and why some examples sell for more than others even though the average market value is around $1.7 in collector condition. Let us start with the basics. The 1990 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. The D Mint mark located under the date tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. The design features Abraham Lincoln on the front, a portrait that has been familiar to Americans since 1909 when the Lincoln cent was first introduced. On the reverse side for this year, you will see the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 to 2008. Now you might be thinking, millions of pennies were made, so why would this one matter? Great question. The reality is that most 1990 pennies are not extremely rare. However, condition, grading, and specific varieties can make a huge difference in value. Let us talk about condition because this is where collectors get serious. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition to mint state. A coin that has been circulated, scratched, or worn down will usually only be worth face value or slightly more. But when you find a coin that looks almost brand new, with sharp details and shiny surfaces, that is when collectors start paying attention. The average collectible example of a 1990 penny can reach around $1.7 depending on condition. That might not sound life-changing, but imagine finding multiple coins like this in your pocket change. Suddenly your spare change starts looking more like a mini treasure chest. Here is a funny story from my own experience. One day I was cleaning out an old drawer that had become a dumping ground for random stuff. You know the kind: old receipts, mystery keys, maybe a pen that stopped working in 2003. I found a small plastic bag full of pennies. At first I almost threw it away, but curiosity kicked in. I started checking dates and mint marks, and that simple moment turned into hours of excitement. While I did not find $1 million coin, I discovered several pieces worth more than face value, and that was the moment I realized coin collecting is like a treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Back to our 1990 penny. One important factor is mint state grading. Coins graded MS65 or higher are especially appealing to collectors. These coins usually have minimal contact marks, strong luster, and excellent detail. The difference between a regular circulated coin and a high-grade mint state coin can be the difference between 1 cent and over $1 or more. Another interesting detail about 1990 Lincoln pennies is the possibility of minor varieties and errors. Coin collectors love errors. These can include doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual minting flaws. While most 1990 pennies are standard, finding an error coin can increase the value significantly. Let us talk about why collectors even care about modern pennies. After all, they are not ancient coins or gold coins. The answer lies in completion and perfection. Many collectors aim to build full date and mint collections. They want every year, every mint mark, and every variation. That means even common coins can have demand if they are in excellent condition. Think of it like trading cards. One common card may not seem special, but a perfectly preserved version can be desirable. Another reason people look at the 1990 penny is accessibility. Not everyone can afford rare gold coins or historic rarities, but almost anyone can search through pennies. It turns collecting into an affordable hobby with the potential for small wins. Now let us discuss current market value in more detail. A typical circulated 1990 penny might be worth just 1 cent or slightly more. However, in uncirculated or high-grade condition, collectors may pay around $1.7 or sometimes higher depending on eye appeal, grading certification, and market demand. Online marketplaces, coin shops, and auctions all play a role in determining prices. The market fluctuates, so what sells today for $1.7 could sell for more or less depending on collector trends. Here is an important tip. Never clean your coins. I know it is tempting. You might think shining it up will increase value, but cleaning usually damages the surface and reduces collector appeal. A natural look is always preferred. Another tip is to store coins properly. Use coin holders, avoid touching the surface with bare fingers, and keep coins in a dry environment. Moisture and fingerprints can reduce value over time. Let us also talk about the historical context. By 1990, the Lincoln penny had already been a part of American culture for decades. The Lincoln Memorial reverse symbolized national pride and history. Coins from this period represent everyday commerce and life during the late 20th century. Collectors often feel a connection to coins because they represent moments in time. That little penny might have been used to buy candy, pay for a newspaper, or sit forgotten in a drawer for years before being rediscovered. Another fun aspect is the hunt. Checking coins becomes addictive in the best way. Once you start, you begin noticing dates, mint marks, and tiny details you never cared about before. Suddenly, every handful of change becomes exciting. You might even involve friends or family. I once showed a relative how to check mint marks, and within minutes they were completely hooked, searching every coin like a detective solving a mystery. Let us talk about realistic expectations. Not every coin will make you rich overnight. But collecting is about the journey as much as the value. Finding a coin worth more than face value brings a sense of achievement and curiosity. Some collectors specialize in Lincoln cents because of their long history. Starting from 1909 to modern issues, the series offers endless possibilities for learning and collecting. If you want to start checking for valuable 1990 pennies, look for these features: strong shine and luster, sharp lettering and details, minimal scratches or marks, and any unusual errors or doubling. Magnifying glasses or coin loops are helpful tools. Even a simple phone camera zoom can reveal interesting details. Another fun idea is coin roll hunting. This means getting rolls of pennies from a bank and searching through them. It feels like opening mystery boxes where you never know what you might find. Sometimes people ask why collectors pay more than face value for common coins. The answer is simple. Collectors value condition, rarity within condition grades, and completion of sets. Even small differences matter. As the hobby grows through online communities and social media, more people are learning about coins. That means awareness increases demand for certain pieces. So what have we learned today? The 1990 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but in the right condition it can reach around $1.7 in the collector market. It reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes treasures hide in everyday objects waiting for someone curious enough to notice them. Well, today we are talking about a coin that many people ignore, spend without thinking, or toss into a jar without a second look. The 1993 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that ordinary-looking penny could actually have collector value, and right now some examples are selling around $1.8 or even more depending on condition. Now before you say wait, that is just $1.80, let me tell you something. That is almost double its face value, and for collectors, small differences can turn everyday coins into hidden treasures. So today we are diving deep into everything you need to know about the 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. We will talk about what no mint mark actually means, why collectors care, how to identify valuable examples, real market value, mistakes people make when checking coins, and tips that could help you spot valuable pennies hiding in plain sight. And yes, I will also share a funny personal story about the first time I thought I found a rare coin and almost lost my mind over it. First, let's understand what a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny really is. Many beginners hear the phrase no mint mark and immediately think it means rare. That is not always true. The no mint mark simply means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not include a mint mark on many coins for decades. So if your penny from 1993 has no letter under the date, that is normal for Philadelphia issues. But here is where things get interesting. Even common coins can become collectible based on condition, errors, or specific variations. And the Lincoln penny series is one of the most collected coin series in the world. People love Lincoln cents because they are historical, affordable, and sometimes surprisingly valuable. The obverse of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln's profile facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head is the famous phrase "In God We Trust," and the word liberty sits to the left. On the reverse of the 1993 penny you will see the Lincoln Memorial, which was used from 1959 to 2008 before the bicentennial designs appeared. Now let's talk about value. Most circulated 1993 no-mint mark pennies are still worth face value or only slightly above it. But higher-grade coins can sell for more. On average, many clean examples are selling around $1.8 depending on grading, luster, and demand in the current market. Uncirculated coins or those graded professionally can go higher. So why would anyone pay nearly $2 for a 1-cent coin? That is a great question. Collectors care about condition, scarcity in high grade, and completing sets. Think of coin collecting like assembling a puzzle. Each year and variation is a piece. Even common pieces become important when someone wants the full set. Condition plays a huge role. Coins that look shiny, have minimal scratches, and maintain their original mint luster are worth more. Coins found in circulation usually show wear. The more worn a coin is, the less collectors will pay. So if you find a 1993 penny that looks almost brand new, do not ignore it. Another factor is errors and varieties. Sometimes during the minting process, mistakes happen. These errors can include double die designs, off-center strikes, or unusual markings. Error coins can be worth much more than standard coins. Always inspect your coin under good lighting and maybe even use a magnifying glass. Let me tell you a personal style story that might sound familiar. One day I was going through a jar of coins that had been sitting in my house for years. You know that jar everyone has, the one where loose change goes to disappear forever. I found a shiny penny and thought, wow, this must be rare because it looks new. I jumped online and saw people talking about valuable Lincoln pennies, and suddenly I felt like I had discovered treasure. I even started imagining buying snacks for free forever because of my amazing coin find. After doing proper research, I realized my coin was common but still slightly more valuable than face value because of its condition. That moment taught me something important. Knowledge turns excitement into smart collecting. And honestly, the thrill of checking coins became addictive. Now let's go deeper into grading. Coin grading is a system used to evaluate condition. Grades range from poor to mint state. A coin graded mint state 65 or higher can command significantly higher prices. Professional grading services encapsulate coins in protective holders and assign official grades. For a coin like the 1993 penny, grading might only be worth it if the coin appears extremely high quality. Another thing to consider is copper color. Collectors categorize copper coins as red, red-brown, or brown. Red coins with original bright color often sell for more. So if your 1993 penny still shines with a reddish copper tone, that could increase its desirability. Let's talk about supply and demand. Millions of 1993 pennies were produced, which means the coin is not rare overall. However, high-grade survivors are less common because many coins were used heavily in circulation. Over time, finding pristine examples becomes harder, which helps maintain collector interest. You might be wondering where to sell a coin like this. Options include online marketplaces, coin shows, local coin dealers, and collector forums. Each option has pros and cons. Online marketplaces offer wide exposure but require good photos and honest descriptions. Local dealers provide fast sales but may offer lower prices because they need to make a profit. One mistake beginners make is cleaning coins. Please do not clean your coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces and can reduce value significantly. Even if a coin looks dirty, collectors often prefer natural aging over artificial shine. Another tip is proper storage. Keep coins in holders, flips, or albums to avoid scratches and environmental damage. Humidity and oils from your fingers can slowly affect the coin's surface. Let's also address myths. Some videos online claim ordinary pennies are worth millions. While rare coins can be extremely valuable, most common dates have modest premiums. The fun is in the hunt and the learning process. Even a coin worth $1.8 can be exciting because it proves you spotted something others overlooked. Imagine checking your change after buying snacks and finding several coins worth more than face value. That feeling is like a mini treasure hunt every day. Coin collecting teaches patience, observation, and history. Every coin passes through many hands and tells a story. Another interesting fact about Lincoln pennies is their historical continuity. Since 1909, Lincoln has appeared on the cent, making it one of the longest-running designs in American coinage. Collectors love tracking changes over time, from wheat ears to the memorial and beyond. If you want to increase your chances of finding valuable coins, start by sorting coins by year. Then check mint marks. Then inspect condition. Over time, your eye will become trained to notice differences quickly. I remember once giving a friend a small stack of pennies and saying, "Check these carefully." At first he laughed and said they are just pennies. 10 minutes later he was fully focused, comparing dates, and asking questions about mint marks. That is how the hobby hooks you. Curiosity turns into passion. Let's revisit market value again. Around $1.8 is a typical price seen for better condition examples, but prices can fluctuate. Always check recent sold listings instead of asking prices. Real sales tell the true story of market demand. Also consider that value can change over time. As more collectors join the hobby or as interest grows through social media and YouTube, demand for certain coins can increase. That means a coin you ignore today might gain attention later. Absolutely. Many collectors start small and gradually build impressive collections. Learning to identify value in common coins builds skills that help you recognize rare finds later. So what have we learned today? The 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but in the right condition it can have collector value around $1.8 or more. Understanding mint marks, condition, grading, and market demand is key to turning pocket change into something special. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, discovery, and the thrill of finding hidden value in everyday objects. We are talking about the 1977 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of people have seen but very few actually understand. Some people think every old penny is worth thousands. Others assume all pennies are useless. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and today we are going to break it down in a simple, fun, and honest way. If you have ever wondered whether the coins sitting in your drawer, your piggy bank, or even your car cup holder might have hidden value, then this video is for you. By the end, you will know what the 1977 Lincoln penny really is, why collectors care about it, how much it is actually worth today, and how to spot the versions that could bring more money. And yes, we will talk about the current market value around $1.10 for certain collectible grade examples, but also why most of these coins are worth less and what makes some special. Let us start with a quick history lesson, but do not worry, this is not boring classroom history. The Lincoln penny first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Before that, American coins usually showed symbolic figures instead of real people. Lincoln changed everything. Suddenly, everyday coins carried the face of a real historical figure. Fast forward to 1977. The United States was in a completely different era. Disco music, big cars, and pocket change full of copper-colored pennies. The 1977 Lincoln penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the back, you see the Lincoln Memorial Building, and if you look very closely, you can even see a tiny Lincoln statue inside. Now here is where things get interesting. The phrase no mint mark simply means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During many years, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark, so a missing letter is actually normal, not an error. Millions upon millions of these coins were made in 1977. We are talking billions. That means most of them are not rare. And when something is not rare, its value usually stays low. But collectors still care about them for several reasons. First, condition matters. A penny that looks like it survived a war zone is not going to be worth much. A shiny, clean, uncirculated example that looks almost brand new is much more attractive to collectors. Second, errors and varieties. Sometimes coins come out of the mint with tiny mistakes. Maybe a doubled letter, maybe a misaligned strike, maybe unusual luster. These small differences can make collectors excited. Now let me share a personal style story because honestly, this is how many people fall into coin collecting. One day I was cleaning out an old jar of coins, the kind everyone has sitting somewhere collecting dust. I thought it was just spare change, nothing special. But I started looking closer. Dates, mint marks, little details. Suddenly it felt like a treasure hunt. I found several 1970s pennies, including a 1977 no mint mark. At first I thought, wow, maybe I am rich now. Then reality arrived. Most were only worth face value. But that moment of curiosity turned into a hobby. And that is the magic of coin collecting. It turns ordinary objects into stories. Back to our coin. The current market value around $1.10 usually applies to higher grade examples. That means coins that are well preserved, with sharp details, minimal scratches, and attractive color. Coins graded by professional services can sometimes sell for more depending on demand and condition. Let us talk grading for a moment because this is where many beginners get confused. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition all the way up to mint state. A heavily worn coin with faded details might be graded very low. A mint state coin looks almost like it just came from the mint yesterday. The difference in price between these grades can be huge. Another thing collectors look for is original red color. Copper pennies start bright red when new. Over time, they turn brown due to oxidation. Some collectors love red examples because they look fresh and vibrant. A 1977 penny with strong red color and minimal handling marks might be more appealing and valuable. Now here is a funny truth about coin collecting. Everyone hopes to find $1 million coin in their change. The reality is that most coins are worth modest amounts. But that does not mean collecting is boring. Think of it like fishing. Not every catch is a giant trophy fish, but the excitement comes from the possibility. Let us also discuss why some online videos exaggerate coin values. You may see titles claiming a common penny is worth thousands or millions. Often those prices refer to extremely rare versions or record auction sales under perfect conditions. The average coin in circulation usually sells for much less. Understanding this helps you avoid disappointment and makes you a smarter collector. If you want to check your own 1977 Lincoln penny, start with a simple inspection. Look at the date and confirm it says 1977. Check under the date for a mint mark. If there is no letter, it means Philadelphia. Examine the surfaces for scratches, wear, or unusual features. Use good lighting and maybe a magnifying glass. Some collectors also weigh their coins. The 1977 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams because it is mostly copper. If you notice unusual weight differences, that could indicate damage or something unusual worth investigating further. Let us talk about storage. If you find a nice-looking example, do not just toss it back into your pocket. Use coin flips or protective holders. Oils from your fingers can affect the surface over time. Another relatable moment I remember is showing a coin to a friend who laughed and said, "It is just a penny." And honestly, he was not wrong. But collecting is not always about getting rich. It is about curiosity, learning, and connecting with history. Every coin has traveled through countless hands, buying coffee, paying for snacks, maybe even being part of someone's lucky charm. Market value changes over time based on collector interest, availability, and overall coin market trends. Today, a high-quality 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny may reach around $1.10, but prices can vary. Always check recent sales rather than old listings. If you want to sell, consider online marketplaces, coin shows, or local dealers. But do your research first so you understand realistic expectations. Let us also address the emotional side of collecting. Many people inherit coins from relatives and wonder if they have treasure. Sometimes the real value is sentimental rather than financial. A coin from your grandfather's collection may not be worth thousands, but its story is priceless. And here is a little humor for you. If every old penny were worth millions, we would all be checking couch cushions instead of working. But the truth is more balanced, and that is what makes real discoveries exciting. The 1977 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a common coin with a fascinating history. Most examples are worth face value or slightly above, but higher-grade versions can reach around $1.10 or more depending on condition and collector demand. The real secret is understanding what makes a coin special, learning how to evaluate condition, and enjoying the journey of discovery. Today we're talking about the 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that looks completely normal but has a story that might change how you see pocket change forever. Now before you roll your eyes and say, "It's just 1 cent," stay with me. Because collectors know something most people don't. Every coin has a story, and sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference. And yes, even a penny worth around $1.20 today can become exciting when you understand why collectors want it. So grab your coins, maybe check your couch cushions while watching, and let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1980 Lincoln penny. First, let's talk about what exactly the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is. This coin features Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, which was used from 1959 to 2008. If you have a 1980 penny without a mint mark under the date, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Back in 1980, billions of pennies were produced. Yes, billions. So you might be thinking, if there are so many, why would anyone care about this coin? That's a great question, and the answer lies in condition, rarity within common coins, and collector demand. Let's talk about mint marks for a second because this is where beginners often get confused. Coins made in different mints carried different letters. AD stands for Denver, and S stands for San Francisco, and when you see no letter at all, that usually means Philadelphia. The 1980 no-mint Mark penny comes from Philadelphia, and while it is technically common, collectors still seek high-quality examples. Now let's talk about value. On average, a circulated 1980 no-mint Mark penny might be worth just a few cents above face value. But when you find one in excellent condition, especially uncirculated or with strong details and original shine, collectors may pay around $1.20 or sometimes more depending on grading. That may not sound like a fortune, but imagine finding dozens or hundreds in old rolls or jars. Suddenly, that small increase adds up. I remember the first time I realized ordinary coins could have extra value. I was cleaning out an old drawer, the kind where you throw random stuff like keys, receipts, and coins you swear you'll sort later. Inside was a small pile of pennies, dusty and forgotten. I almost threw them into a jar without looking, but curiosity got the better of me. I started checking dates and mint marks, and suddenly it felt like a treasure hunt. That moment changed how I see coins forever. Even though I didn't find $1 million rarity, I found pieces worth more than 1 cent, and honestly, that feeling was addictive. Back to the 1980 penny. One reason collectors like this coin is because it represents a transition era in coin collecting. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a time when massive numbers of coins were produced, but fewer people saved them in pristine condition. That means finding a truly high-grade example today can be more difficult than you'd expect. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A worn penny that has been passed through thousands of hands will not be worth much more than face value. But a coin that looks almost new, with sharp details, minimal scratches, and bright color can jump significantly in value. Grading services evaluate coins based on factors like luster, strike quality, and preservation. Another interesting detail about the 1980 Lincoln penny is the metal composition. These coins were made mostly of copper, unlike later pennies that changed composition. Many collectors love copper coins because of their classic look and historical feel. There's something satisfying about holding a coin that has that warm copper color instead of the newer zinc core pennies. Let's talk about errors and varieties because this is where things get fun. While most 1980 no-mint Mark pennies are standard issues, some may have minor mint errors such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or unusual markings. Error coins often attract collectors because they are unique. Imagine a factory mistake becoming a collector's prize decades later. That's the magic of numismatics. If you're checking your coins at home, here's what you should look for. First, check the date carefully. Make sure it says 1980. Second, look under the date for a mint mark. If there's no letter, you have the Philadelphia version. Third, inspect the coin's condition. Does it shine? Are Lincoln's hair details clear? Is the Lincoln Memorial reverse crisp and detailed? These small details help determine value. You might be wondering why collectors pay more for coins that still exist in large numbers. The answer is simple. Collectors don't just collect rarity, they collect quality. A high-grade example becomes rare because most coins get worn down over time. Think about it like sneakers. Millions of pairs are made, but a brand new pair from decades ago becomes rare because most were worn out. Another fun aspect of coin collecting is the thrill of the hunt. Unlike expensive hobbies where you need big investments, coin collecting can start with pocket change. That means anyone can participate. Even kids can begin by checking coins and learning history through currency. I once heard someone say coin collecting is like time travel you can hold in your hand. And honestly, that's true. Every penny has traveled through countless pockets, wallets, and cash registers. Your 1980 penny might have been used to buy candy, gas, or maybe even a comic book back in the day. Let's discuss market trends. Coin values fluctuate depending on collector demand, economic conditions, and grading standards. Right now, many collectors appreciate classic Lincoln Memorial pennies because they represent a long-running design era that recently ended. As older designs become more nostalgic, interest sometimes increases. But here's an important tip. Don't assume every penny is valuable just because it's old. Research is key. Compare your coin to verified examples, learn grading basics, and avoid unrealistic expectations. Some videos online exaggerate coin values, but the real joy comes from understanding history and building knowledge. Another humorous truth about coin collecting is that once you start, you may never stop. Suddenly you're checking every coin you receive at the store. Your friends might laugh when you inspect change under bright light, but trust me, every collector has done it. Point 1 strategy for beginners is to organize coins by year and mint mark. This helps you spot missing pieces in a collection. You might start with just one coin and end up building an entire Lincoln penny set. Now let's address a common myth. Some people believe a coin must be extremely rare to be worth collecting. That's not true. Even moderately valuable coins like the 1980 no-mint mark penny can be enjoyable because they're accessible. They give beginners a chance to learn without spending a fortune. Another tip is proper storage. Keep coins in holders or albums to prevent scratches and corrosion. Avoid touching the surface too much because oils from your fingers can affect appearance over time. Let's imagine a scenario. You visit a relative's house and find an old jar filled with pennies. Most people see clutter. A collector sees opportunity. Sorting through that jar might reveal dozens of coins worth more than face value. That's why experienced collectors always say, never ignore loose change. And here's a funny story. I once paid for coffee and received change that included a shiny copper penny. The barista laughed when I paused to inspect it. 5 minutes later, she was asking me to explain what I was looking for. That moment turned into a mini coin collecting lesson right there at the counter. The beauty of the 1980 Lincoln penny is that it reminds us value isn't always about massive rarity. Sometimes value comes from appreciation, history, and collector interest. Even a coin worth around $1.20 can represent a journey through decades of American history. Penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which has been around since, wait for it, 1909. That's over a century of tiny copper discs with Abe's handsome face staring back at us. Fun fact, the 1969 penny was minted primarily in Philadelphia, which is why some coins have no mint mark. And when I say no mint mark, I mean zero, nada, nothing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most 1969 pennies are just pennies. You know, the ones you find under couch cushions or at the bottom of your bag, the ones that make you go, oh yeah, a penny. But a 1969 no-mint mark penny, especially in really good condition, is kind of like finding a golden ticket in your chocolate bar. Seriously, Collectors are willing to pay big bucks for this coin, and by big bucks, I mean we're talking around $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. Million. With an M dot, and here's a little story to make it more relatable. I was at a local coffee shop, sipping my way through a caramel latte that probably cost more than my first car, when I noticed the tip jar was full of coins. I thought, why not? I started sifting through them, half expecting to find some rare treasure. And there it was, a 1969 penny. I almost dropped my latte in shock. My heart was racing. Could it actually be worth a fortune? It was kind of like that moment in a movie where the character finds the hidden treasure map tucked behind the bookshelf. Only my treasure map was a tiny copper penny in a tip jar. There are a few reasons. First, scarcity. Not many of these survived in mint condition, and collectors love that. Second, the no mint mark factor. Coins with no mint mark from 1969 are rarer than the ones with the D mint mark from Denver. And third, condition is everything. If your penny looks like it survived a toddler's sandbox adventure, it's probably not going to fetch $1 million. But if it's crisp, shiny, and just perfect, then suddenly, that little penny becomes a superstar in the coin world. Now, let's talk about spotting these bad boys. The easiest thing to check is the year and the absence of a mint mark. No D or S? Check. 1969? Check. Perfect condition? That's the jackpot. And here's a pro tip: don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. I know, your inner perfectionist might be tempted, but scrubbing that penny will actually destroy its value. Nature gave it a patina, and collectors are all about that authentic vintage vibe. And let's be honest, we all love a little coin trivia to show off at parties. You can casually drop, "Oh yeah, the 1969 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? Worth over $1 million if it's pristine." Watch people's jaws drop. Instant icebreaker. And if they don't believe you, just nod wisely and pretend you're the Indiana Jones of coins. Of course, owning one of these pennies comes with a certain thrill. Imagine digging through your old coin jar and realizing that what you thought was just spare change is actually more valuable than your car, your TV, or maybe even your entire coffee budget for the month. That's the magic of coins. One second you're tossing them in a vending machine, the next you're holding a tiny fortune, and the history adds another layer of coolness. This penny features Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, in all his stern, yet somehow approachable glory. It's like carrying a mini piece of American history in your pocket. And if you're someone like me who geeks out over history and treasure hunts, it's basically a 2-for-1 deal: historical significance and potential cash windfall. The 1969 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those rare coins that can turn everyday change into a jaw-dropping story. If you have one lying around, don't just pocket it or toss it into the donation jar. Check the condition, maybe get it graded, and you might just be sitting on $1 million gem. And hey, I know you love these little treasure hunts as much as I do, so here's my parting advice: always keep an eye on your loose change, learn a bit about coin history, and never underestimate the power of a tiny penny. One day, you might be telling your friends the story of how you found $1 million coin in your grandma's jar. And yes, it'll make you look cooler than anyone else at the coffee shop. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of pennies and want more tips on coins that could make you rich, strange money strategies, or just want to laugh along with my misadventures in coin collecting, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story, a tip, or a coin that could change your life. Remember, folks, treasure is often hiding in plain sight. And who knows, your next $1 million find could be sitting in your pocket right now. Welcome back to the Old Coins Prices. Today we are diving into something that might just make you look at your pocket change a little differently. Imagine this: you're at the grocery store, buying chips and soda, and you pull out a penny from 1970, no mint mark, and suddenly, boom! That little copper disc in your hand could be worth $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1 million with an M. I know. I would have dropped my soda too. Now, before you start digging through your old coin jars or your parents' dusty drawers, let's take a friendly, fun, and maybe slightly hilarious journey into the world of the 1970 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. We'll talk about what makes it valuable, how to spot one, why collectors are going nuts over it, and maybe, just maybe, how you could be holding a little fortune in your pocket without even knowing it. Okay, let's start with the basics. The 1970 Lincoln penny, normally, is just a regular penny. It's got Abraham Lincoln on the front, his serious side profile, looking like he's judging your life choices, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most of these pennies are just that, pennies. Worth a cent, maybe a sentimental glance, but mostly, coin pocket filler. But here's the kicker, the 1970 penny has a secret. A secret so sweet that collectors and coin dealers start acting like they just spotted a unicorn at a Starbucks drive-thru. And that secret is the no-mint mark variety. Usually, pennies have a little letter on the front or the back, just under the date, like AD for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But some pennies, and these are rare, slip through the cracks without that mint mark. And that absence? That tiny missing letter is like the golden ticket for coin collectors. Why? Well, think of it like this. Imagine you're at a concert, and everyone is waving glow sticks. But you have one glow stick that's invisible, yet somehow more valuable. That's the 1970 no-mint mark penny. It's rare, it's unique, and people will pay serious money for it. In fact, current market value? Around $1.4 million. I know I keep saying it, but it bears repeating, million, with an M, baby. First, don't panic. Look right under the date. If you don't see AD or an S, congratulations, you might have a contender. But here's a pro tip, don't just trust your eyes. Some of these coins are so worn out that even an expert might squint and go, wait, is that a mint mark or just a scratch? Professional grading and authentication is the safe path, and yes, you might have to pay for it, but it's like hiring a bouncer for your potentially millionaire penny. Now, let me tell you a quick story. Last year, I was at a flea market, casually flipping through a guy's old coin collection. I spotted a dusty little Lincoln penny in a jar labeled miscellaneous change. And instinctively I grabbed it, looked closer, and my heart literally skipped a beat. There it was, a 1970 no-mint mark penny. I didn't scream, mostly because I didn't want to scare other shoppers, but my hands were shaking. The guy selling it didn't even know what he had, and I ended up getting it for a few bucks. That moment, friends, is why I love coins, the thrill, the stories, and that tiny chance that history is in your hands. Back to the value though. Why $1.4 million? It's supply and demand, plain and simple. There just aren't that many of these no-mint mark pennies out there. Collectors, investors, even casual coin lovers are all hunting for them. And when there's scarcity plus demand, that's when coins go from pocket change to life-changing money. And don't worry, you don't have to be a millionaire or a coin expert to start. Just a little curiosity, a magnifying glass, and maybe a bit of patience. Okay, here's another fun fact. The 1970 penny is not just about the no-mint mark. There are also some rare error varieties floating around. Double dies, misstrikes, and other funny little quirks that can make a coin even more valuable. It's like finding a typo in an ancient manuscript. Suddenly, that little mistake is worth a fortune. So when you're hunting through your collection, keep an eye out. Sometimes the coin that seems ordinary could be hiding a little treasure. And let's be honest, even if your 1970 penny isn't worth $1.4 million, it's still kind of cool to think about. I mean, this little coin has been around since Nixon was president. People were watching the Brady Bunch on TV, and someone probably paid 6 cents for a pack of gum with it. Coins are tiny time machines, holding stories and history in your pocket. And when you find a rare one, it's like history just winked at you. You might just be holding a small fortune. Even if it's not, coins are fun, they're history, and who knows, one day, your dusty old jar of pennies could surprise you. And let's be real, we all love the idea of casually sitting on $1 million without doing much. That's the dream, right? Before you go digging through drawers and couch cushions, here's what I want you to do. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and ring the notification bell. That way, You won't miss the next time we uncover coins worth money, secret treasure tips, and strategies for spotting little fortunes hiding in plain sight. Trust me, your future self, and your potential millionaire penny, will thank you. Alright, that's it for today, coin hunters. Keep your eyes sharp, your pockets jingling, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. I'll see you in the next video where we dig into more rare coins and hidden treasures. Stay curious, stay lucky, and most importantly, keep laughing, because finding treasure should always be fun. Today we are diving into the tiny world of coins, but trust me, this isn't your grandma's dusty coin jar. We are talking about one little piece of copper that could make you richer than your high school math teacher promised with that. You'll need algebra in real life. Line. Yup, we're talking about the 1964 Abraham Lincoln penny, specifically the one with no mint mark. Let me stop you right there. This is not just any penny. This is the coin that could make you say, "Wait, I've been throwing away gold." And it's got a current market value of about $1.5 million. Yeah, I said million. Not thousand. Million. So, grab your magnifying glasses, your reading glasses, maybe even a microscope, because we're going coin hunting today. But first, a little story. A few years back, I was digging through my old change jar, you know, the one that's been sitting under your bed collecting dust since who knows when, and I pulled out a handful of pennies. One of them caught my eye. It looked different. It wasn't shiny or anything fancy, but it felt a little heavier, like it had some secret. Turns out, after a quick search, I might have been holding a 1964 no mint mark penny. My heart skipped a beat. I imagined myself sipping margaritas on a beach in Bali because, hey, $1.5 million is not pocket change. Spoiler alert, I didn't have Bali money that day, but the excitement? Totally real. And that's exactly what makes coins like this so fascinating. Alright, so let's break it down. First, what is a 1964 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, this little guy is part of the Lincoln cent series, which has been around since 1909. The 1964 penny is made mostly of copper, but it's the no mint mark part that makes it rare. See, in 1964, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia ones didn't get a mint mark, while Denver got a D and San Francisco got an S. So if your 1964 penny has no D or S on it, congratulations, you're potentially holding a coin that collectors go absolutely bananas over. Now, before you run to your wallet, let's talk about why it's valuable. The value comes from rarity, condition, and the sheer collector demand. Coins like this are like unicorns in a pile of hay. They're out there, but finding one in decent shape is rare. Even small scratches, nicks, or discoloration can knock the price down. But if you have a coin that's near perfect, and especially one with no mint mark, you're talking about the $1.5 million figure I mentioned. And yes, that is an estimate. Prices can fluctuate depending on the auction, the buyer, and let's face it, sometimes how dramatic the auctioneer's voice is. Let's talk condition for a minute. Collectors use a grading system that sounds complicated, but it's pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. Circulated coins, basically coins that have been used in everyday life, are less valuable. Uncirculated coins, those that look like they just came out of the mint yesterday, are the golden tickets. If you have a 1964 no mint mark penny that looks shiny, clean, and unscathed, you might be sitting on a serious payday. And here's a little tip from personal experience. Don't just check your old coin jar. Check your change in the couch cushions, under your car seat, in drawers you forgot existed. I've seen people find coins worth thousands hiding behind the most mundane places. One guy even found a 1964 penny in a pack of gum wrappers at a garage sale. So, never underestimate where treasure can be hiding. Now, let's have a little fun. Imagine your friend hands you a cup of coins from a fast food restaurant. You dump them on the counter, and there it is, the penny of destiny. You pick it up, and your friend says, "That's just a penny, dude." You smile knowingly because you're now officially a millionaire in theory. Okay, maybe not immediately sipping cocktails in Bali, but hey, dreams start somewhere. Another cool thing is that the 1964 no-mint mark penny has some interesting quirks in design. Abraham Lincoln's profile is iconic, but sometimes there are tiny differences in the date or the lettering that can help experts verify if your penny is legit. These subtle details are what coin collectors geek out over. And if you're like me, geeking out over tiny copper discs is oddly satisfying. And here's a funny side note. I once spent an hour debating with a friend whether my penny was real or fake. I was like, "Look at the shine! Look at the lettering!" And my friend goes, "It's a penny, relax." I'm telling you, coin collecting can bring out the inner detective in anyone. You start noticing scratches, ridges, and patinas like they're secret codes. And yes, it's perfectly normal to feel like Indiana Jones when examining a coin.so. Bottom line. If you find a 1964 no-mint mark penny, do not spend it on gum or soda. Take a deep breath, maybe frame it or put it in a safe, and definitely get it authenticated by a reputable coin grading company. These coins are rare, valuable, and collectors will pay serious money for them. And while $1.5 million isn't guaranteed, you could definitely end up with a life-changing amount if you hit the jackpot.so. To wrap things up, the 1964 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is not just another piece of change. It's a piece of history, a collector's dream, and yes, a potential life-changer if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine condition. I hope this video made you look at the pennies in your pocket a little differently. Maybe tomorrow when you find a penny on the street, you'll pause and think, could this be my ticket to a tropical vacation? Before you go, I've got a challenge for you. Go check your coin jars, your couch cushions, your old wallets. See if you have any 1964 pennies with no mint mark. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel for more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich, strategies to spot hidden value, and yes, more fun anecdotes from my coin hunting adventures. Hit that like button if you learned something new today, comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, and don't forget to subscribe. Your next millionaire moment might just be lying under a couch cushion or in your pocket right now. Stay curious, stay lucky, and keep hunting those coins. I'll see you in the next video. So picture this, you're digging around in your old jar of coins, the one you've been ignoring for years, and suddenly you spot something shiny, or in this case, not so shiny, but way more valuable than you could imagine. That's right, I'm talking about the 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you think I'm joking, let me just drop this little bomb. This little copper disc could be worth a whopping $1.6 million right now. Yeah, I know, your jaw just hit the floor, mine did too the first time I saw it. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably have a drawer somewhere filled with pennies, dimes, and nickels you've been collecting since forever, and you've never really paid attention to the dates. Well, today, I'm going to take you on a little journey through the fascinating, sometimes weird, and always exciting world of the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll talk about why this coin is so special, how you can spot one, and what makes it worth so much money. Plus, I've got a hilarious story about the first time I accidentally stumbled on one of these coins. Stick around, because by the end of this video, not only will you know exactly what to look for in your loose change, but you might even start seeing pennies in a whole new light. And hey, if you like this kind of money-savvy content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I've got a ton more tips coming your way on coins that can actually make you rich. Alright, let's dive in. First things first, let's talk about what a 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny actually is. If you didn't know, most Lincoln pennies have a little letter somewhere on them, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But every once in a while, a coin will slip through the system and not have any mint mark at all. These coins are rare because they're mistakes or anomalies from the minting process. And when it comes to the 1979 penny, that missing mint mark suddenly makes it incredibly valuable to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, sure, it's rare, but $1.5 million? That's insane. And you're right, it does sound crazy. But here's the thing, coin collectors are a passionate bunch. They're like Pokemon trainers, but instead of hunting Pikachu, They're hunting for coins that could literally make them millions. And when a coin is both rare and in good condition, people will pay insane amounts for it. The 1979 no-mint mark penny ticks both of those boxes. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market just browsing for fun, sipping on a cheap cup of coffee, and chatting with an older gentleman about coins. He pulls out this little jar and dumps it on the table. My eyes instantly go to this slightly dull penny sitting there, and I almost tossed it aside. But something about it caught my eye, so I asked him about it. And would you believe it, it was a 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. He had no idea it was worth a fortune. We ended up having this long, hilarious negotiation that involved coffee stains, my terrible math skills, and some awkward handshakes, and long story short, I walked away with a coin that could make you laugh, cry, and think twice about your pocket change all at the same time. So how do you spot one of these coins yourself? Well, first, you need to know what to look for. Check the obverse side of the coin, where Lincoln's portrait is. Normally, there's a tiny little D or S near the date. If that letter is missing, congratulations, you might just have struck gold. Or, in this case, copper. Next, check the condition. Coins in mint or near mint condition are obviously more valuable, but even slightly worn coins can be worth something. That's why it's a good idea to handle your pennies carefully, especially if you think you might have a rare one. No one wants to accidentally scratch $1 million coin by trying to clean it with toothpaste. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Now, let's talk about the market value. Right now, the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is valued at around $1.6 million. I know, it sounds unbelievable, but the market for rare coins has been booming. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins like this because they're one of the few pennies from modern times that have skyrocketed in value. And unlike other collectibles, coins don't go out of style, they don't need batteries, and they don't break if you drop them. They're basically the perfect investment. If you can find one. Here's something fun. Imagine finding one in your couch cushions. You're just reaching for the remote, digging through a pile of loose change, and boom, there it is. That's exactly the kind of story that makes coin collecting so exciting. It's part treasure hunt, part history lesson, and part, oh my gosh, I could retire tomorrow. And speaking of history, Lincoln pennies have been around since 1909. Which means they've witnessed everything from the roaring 20s to the digital age. The 1979 penny isn't just money, it's a little piece of history. Holding one in your hand is like holding a tiny time machine. You can almost imagine all the pockets it's been in, all the transactions it's been part of, and now, it could be part of your fortune. Now, you don't have to go searching through every single penny you own right away, but it's a good idea to at least start paying attention. Keep an eye out for missing mint marks, odd shapes, unusual coloring, or any other weird features. Those quirks are exactly what collectors are hunting for. And don't feel bad if you miss one, you'll get better with practice. I've personally ruined more coins by overcleaning them than I've ever found in value. Lesson learned. Also, a little tip, if you find a coin you think might be valuable, don't just post it online and hope for the best. Take it to a certified coin dealer or have it graded. That way, you'll know exactly what you have, and you won't end up selling $1 million coin for a few bucks at a garage sale. So, to wrap it all up, the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a piece of copper. It's a tiny slice of history, a treasure hunt, and potentially a life-changing investment all rolled into one. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who's finally paying attention to the coins in your pocket, keep your eyes peeled because you never know where your next big find could be hiding. And here's my personal piece of advice. Always check your loose change before spending it, and treat your pennies like the little treasures they are. You might just find yourself holding $1 million coin without even realizing it. I know I did, and let me tell you, it's a feeling like no other. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could be worth big money, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future videos where we dive into other rare pennies, nickels, and even dimes that could make your jaw drop. And if you've ever found a coin you couldn't believe was valuable, leave a comment down below. I love reading those stories, and maybe we can swap a few laughs. Today, I have a story that might just make you look at your loose change a little differently. Imagine this: you're cleaning out your couch cushions, your car, or that jar labeled "Coins I'll Never Need," and you stumble across a tiny little Abraham Lincoln penny from 1994 with a D mint mark. At first, you're like, oh cool, a regular penny. But then, you do a double take. This little guy, worth $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.7 million. Now, before you go running to your local bank to cash in that jar, let's take a deep dive into the 1994 D mint mark Lincoln penny. Why it's rare, why collectors are willing to throw down big bucks, and maybe how you could stumble onto your own accidental jackpot someday. Stick around because by the end, you might never look at pennies the same way again. And trust me, there's some laughs along the way. Alright, let's set the stage. 1994 D mint mark Lincoln pennies were produced in Denver, hence the D. Normally, Lincoln pennies are super common, right? Millions of these things exist. But the 1994 D? There's a twist. Here's the deal: some of these coins were misstruck or had errors during the minting process. Now, errors can mean a lot of things. Sometimes it's a double strike, sometimes it's a missing mint mark, sometimes it's a weird off-center design. These mistakes are tiny, sometimes barely noticeable, but to collectors, they are pure gold. Well, not actual gold, because we're talking pennies here, but close enough if you've got $1 million coin in your hand. Now, let me tell you a quick story. One day, I was at a garage sale, casually flipping through a box of old coins like I was just killing time. I wasn't looking for anything special, just some change to practice my coin spotting skills. And then I found it. Not $1 million coin, unfortunately, my luck isn't that good, but a 1994 D Lincoln penny in pristine condition. I held it up, inspected it, and suddenly realized, hey, this could be the kind of coin someone is paying serious money for. I took a picture, posted it on a coin forum, and let me tell you, the comments section blew up. People were debating mint marks, grading, and errors like it was the Super Bowl of coins. And that's when it clicked for me: these little copper guys are like tiny tickets to a treasure chest, if you know what to look for. So, how does a 1994 D Lincoln penny reach a whopping $1.7 million in value? First, condition is king. We're talking coins that are basically flawless, straight out of the mint, no scratches, no discoloration, nothing. Collectors call it mint state, and they fight over these like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. Then you have rarity. Only a small number of these specific pennies have that mint mark error or special condition that makes them insanely desirable. Throw in historical significance, because, come on, it's Abraham Lincoln on the coin, and you've got a recipe for a collector frenzy. Now, I know what some of you are thinking: how often does someone actually sell a penny for over $1 million? Fair question. The truth is, it's rare, but it happens more than you'd expect. Auctions, private collectors, and rare coin dealers see these pennies as investments. And here's the kicker: unlike the stock market, there's a finite number of these coins. Once they're gone, which makes them extremely valuable. Think of it like Pokemon cards, but smaller, shinier, and historically significant. Like you pick up a penny and it whispers, "Hey buddy, I'm worth more than your car." Well, that's kind of what happened to me at that garage sale. I walked away with knowledge, and that knowledge? Priceless. Let's break down the practical side. If you're hunting for a 1994 D penny, here's what to do. First, check your change. I mean literally, dig through jars, drawers, and couches. Most people toss these pennies like they're worthless, but that's where the magic is. Second, educate yourself on mint marks and errors. Third, handle with care. These coins are delicate. And finally, if you do stumble onto a gem, get it authenticated and graded by professionals. This can add hundreds of thousands, or even millions, to the value. Okay, now let's talk humor for a sec, because collecting coins can get intense. You ever watch someone inspect a penny for 20 minutes like it's a diamond? That's me at my first coin convention. I had a magnifying glass, a flashlight, and a level, just to make sure my coin was perfectly flat. Someone walked by, saw me muttering under my breath, and said, "Are you talking to the penny?" I nodded solemnly. "Yes, we are negotiating its $1,000,000 value." Coin collectors are serious folks, but we laugh at ourselves, too, and the 1994 D penny isn't just about money, it's a piece of history you can hold in your hand. Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents ever, staring at you from a tiny coin. That's kind of cool, right? It's like carrying a little bit of American history in your pocket. Only in this case, your pocket could also be worth a fortune. The 1994 D Lincoln penny is more than just a coin, it's a rare, collectible, and potentially life-changing piece of history. Worth over $1.7 million in top condition, it's a reminder that treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places. Your couch cushions, your car's cup holders, your old piggy bank, anywhere that spare change accumulates. Don't underestimate the pennies in your pocket. Handle them with care, know what you're looking for, and maybe, just maybe, you'll stumble onto a coin that could change your life. And hey, if you love stories about coins, mistakes that turn into fortunes, and tips for spotting hidden treasures, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our little community. We dive into coin mysteries, share personal stories, and laugh at our own obsession with tiny metal circles. Plus, you never know, we might just find the next $1,000,000 penny together. We're diving into something that might just make your old pocket change feel a little fancier, the 1996 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, yeah, it's just a penny, stick with me because this little copper disc has been known to cause some serious collector excitement. I remember the first time I stumbled onto a coin worth real money. I was at my grandma's house, digging through a dusty old jar of pennies because, honestly, who doesn't love to dig through a jar of random coins? And there it was, peeking at me like it was saying, "Hey, I'm special." That little moment of discovery, the thrill of thinking, could this really be worth something? It's a feeling that's hard to beat, and I promise, today's video is going to capture that same excitement but with the 1996 D Lincoln penny. By the end of this video, you'll know what makes this coin valuable, how to spot one, what collectors are willing to pay, and maybe even how to turn your loose change into something a little more exciting. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the story I've got about almost throwing away a coin that could have made me a few $1,000. So, grab a snack, settle in, and let's dig into the world of coins that can make a 1-cent piece feel like a $1,000,000 discovery. Okay, let's start with the basics. The 1996 D Lincoln penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 all the way to 2008. It's got Lincoln on the front, obviously, looking all stoic, like he's judging your coin collecting skills silently. And on the back, you've got the Lincoln Memorial, which has appeared on millions, if not billions of pennies. So why is the 1996 D Mint Mark penny special? Well, first off, it comes from the Denver Mint. The D Mint Mark indicates it was minted in Denver, Colorado, and for coin collectors, mint marks can make a big difference. Think of it like the difference between a regular concert ticket and a VIP backstage pass. Same show, but one's way more exciting and collectible. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most pennies from this year aren't worth more than face value. But a 1996 D penny in uncirculated condition, especially with a pristine look, no scratches, no wear, and that shiny copper gleam, can fetch around $1,800 in today's collector market. $1,800. That's more than what some people spend on their weekend coffee habit for an entire year. And here's a quick tip: condition is everything. If your penny looks like it survived a hurricane in a pocket, it's probably worth face value. But if it looks like it just came out of the mint yesterday, collectors are lining up, wallets open, ready to pay a premium. Let's talk about spotting one in the wild. Sometimes you might stumble across one in your old coin jar, in a roll of pennies from the bank, or even at a garage sale. The key things to look for are the D Mint Mark right under the ear and, of course, that gleaming, unblemished surface. Pro tip: don't just eyeball it. If you think you've got a winner, consider taking it to a professional coin grading service. They can give it a grade that essentially puts a price tag on your little copper friend. And here's a funny personal story. I once found a 1996 penny in an old jar at my dad's house. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, it was just a penny, right? So, I tossed it in my pocket and forgot about it. Fast forward a few months, I was watching a video about rare pennies and realized the exact one I had in my pocket could be worth almost $2,000. Cue panic mode. I almost fainted, and the first thing I did was check all my other coins because you never know what other treasures are lying around, hiding in plain sight. Moral of the story: never underestimate a penny. Seriously, keep your coins organized and maybe give them a little love. They could be hiding a small fortune. Now, let's get a little nerdy, but I promise it's fun. The 1996 penny was part of a huge mintage year. Over 8 billion pennies were produced in 1996 across all mints. But only a fraction of those are in mint condition today. Time, wear, scratches, and circulation take their toll. That's why the few that survive in perfect condition are like tiny copper unicorns, rare, magical, and highly sought after. Collectors also love to look for varieties or errors in coins. Some pennies have beveled dies, misstrikes, or unique color variations. A small defect could dramatically increase value. So, while the standard 1996 penny in uncirculated condition is already valuable, an unusual mint error could make it even more of a collector's dream. Another reason collectors go crazy over coins like this one is that it's a relatively modern coin. People often think older coins like 1909 wheat pennies are the only valuable ones, but even modern pennies can bring in serious money if they're in top condition. It's proof that you don't have to dig into your grandpa's attic to find a fortune. Sometimes your own loose change jar might hold a hidden gem. Alright, here's a quick exercise. Take a moment to think about the last time you found a penny on the street. Did you pick it up? Odds are, it probably wasn't a 1996, but imagine if it had been. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the possibility that the tiniest, most overlooked object could suddenly be worth way more than you ever expected. It's a little adrenaline rush for free. Okay, moving on to practical tips for people who want to get in on the action. First, start by checking your own change. I know, it sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how often valuable coins are hiding right in your pocket. Second, visit coin shops and shows. Even if you don't buy, you'll learn how to spot valuable coins and hear stories from seasoned collectors. And those stories are sometimes even more entertaining than the coins themselves. And third, invest in proper storage. Slap a penny in a shoebox and expect it to stay pristine? Nope. Coin holders, flips, or albums are your friends. They keep your copper beauties looking shiny and untouched, which is exactly what collectors want. And remember, coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about history, nostalgia, and the thrill of the hunt. That little 1996 penny is more than just a coin. It's a tiny piece of history, a potential treasure, and maybe even the start of your next great adventure. So, let's wrap this up. The 1996 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but in the right hands and in the right condition, it's a potential $1,800 superstar. It's a reminder that value isn't always obvious, that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. And hey, if you've got a jar of pennies gathering dust, maybe give it a peek. Who knows, your next 1 cent could be a collector's dream. Before you go, here's the call to action. If you loved learning about the 1996 penny and want more tips on coins that could make you some real money, hit that subscribe button. Join the club of collectors, treasure hunters, and casual penny enthusiasts like me. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and who knows, maybe we'll find some hidden treasures together. And if you enjoyed the personal stories, the humor, or just the idea that pennies can be more than pocket change, drop a comment below with your own coin adventures. I want to hear about the weirdest, luckiest, or most valuable coins you've ever found. Thanks for hanging out today. Keep your eyes on the pennies, your fingers on the flips, and I'll see you in the next video.